The British monarchy has always thrived on pageantry, symbolism, and carefully orchestrated appearances, but even the most polished facade can falter when raw human emotions break through. Such was the case during the recent state visit of former U.S. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump, where a fleeting moment between Queen Camilla and Princess Kate was captured on camera. Welcome viewers to my channel. Please subscribe, like my video and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next update. What seemed like a small, almost inconsequential gesture, Camilla appearing to motion for Kate to move aside, has snowballed into whispers of rivalry, power struggles, and lingering insecurities within the House of Windsor. The scene itself unfolded in seconds. The Princess of Wales was engaged in polite conversation with Melania Trump, her poise as immaculate as ever, her warmth radiating the effortless charm that has made her one of the monarchy's most beloved figures. Then entered Queen Camilla, now 78, walking with the quiet confidence of a woman who, after decades of scrutiny, finally stands at the pinnacle of royal life. She joined the group, but rather than seamlessly blending into the exchange, she appeared to shoo Kate aside, redirecting Melania's attention to herself. The cameras caught it all: the flick of Camilla's hand, the stiffness in Kate's body, and the subtle but unmistakable disruption of the moment. To outsiders, it might have been brushed off as a simple misunderstanding of body language, perhaps even a clumsy attempt to take control of the proceedings. But inside palace walls, where every action carries symbolic weight, it has sparked something far deeper. Royal insiders claim this was not just an awkward social hiccup, it was a glimpse into the simmering tensions between two women who, though bound by duty, find themselves increasingly navigating overlapping territories of influence. Camilla has been extremely kind and supportive towards Kate during her difficult times, one insider confided, referring to the princess's recent struggles with health and the relentless glare of public life. But Camilla is territorial by nature. She's prickly, easily ruffled, and fiercely protective of her place in the hierarchy. What drives her up the wall is this constant narrative that the Waleses, William and Kate, can do no wrong. That Kate, especially, can glide into any room, wave, smile, and suddenly she's the most adored member of the monarchy. This isn't just palace gossip. For decades, Camilla's place in the royal family has been complicated, even controversial. Once cast as the other woman, in the breakdown of Charles and Diana's marriage, she endured years of hostility from the press and icy reception from the public. Her transformation into queen consort upon Charles's accession in September 2022 was nothing short of remarkable, a testament to her resilience and Charles's determination to legitimize her role. Yet even now, having achieved the title she once thought impossible, Camilla remains sensitive to the perception that she is overshadowed. And overshadowed she often is, particularly by Kate, who at 43 is in her prime, exuding the modernity, grace, and relatable charm that the institution desperately needs. Kate is not only the wife of the heir apparent but also a figure whose popularity rivals that of Diana in her heyday. For Camilla, who spent years clawing her way into the public's reluctant acceptance, Kate's seemingly effortless acclaim is both enviable and infuriating. That frustration was reportedly at play in the moment caught on video. As one royal source bluntly put it, Camilla wanted to make it clear that she's the one calling the shots right now. Kate and William's time will come, but this is still Camilla's stage. She's not about to be sidelined, not when she's finally earned the crown. The tension, however, did not end with the brief exchange. Insiders suggest Kate was taken aback by Camilla's brusque behavior, interpreting it as both dismissive and disrespectful. From Kate's perspective, Camilla needs to calm down and stop being so brittle, said the insider. The way she shooed her aside, snapping like that in full view of the world, was uncalled for. It embarrassed Kate, and it angered William. He does not take lightly to anyone undermining his wife, especially in public. William's reaction is key to understanding why this seemingly small incident has ballooned into something much larger. The Prince of Wales has worked tirelessly over the years to repair his relationship with Camilla. In the aftermath of Diana's death, William and Harry's feelings towards their father's companion were complicated, to say the least. It took years of effort, diplomacy, and Charles's persistence to build even a fragile rapport between his sons and the woman who would eventually become their stepmother. In recent years, William and Camilla had reportedly reached a point of mutual respect. While they would never share the easy bond of a traditional mother and son, they found ways to coexist within the tight-knit machinery of the monarchy. This makes the current friction all the more precarious. William's relationship with Camilla has evolved, the insider noted. But disrespecting Kate is where he draws the line. This is testing him in ways that bring back the discomfort of the past. The symbolism is hard to ignore. For Camilla, her gesture was about asserting her seniority as queen consort, ensuring she is seen as the ranking royal woman during official engagements. For Kate, it was a slight that underscored the tension between present and future, between the woman who holds the crown now and the woman who will inherit it. For William, it was a reminder of just how delicate the family dynamic remains, and how easily old wounds can be reopened. Royal watchers point out that the monarchy is entering a fragile chapter. King Charles III, though determined to reign with energy and purpose, is in his twilight years. His reign will inevitably be shorter than his mother's, and the public is already looking ahead to the next generation. William and Kate represent that future, and their popularity has, in many ways, eclipsed Charles and Camilla. This reality, palace insiders say, fuels much of Camilla's defensiveness. In her mind, she waited decades for this role, said one courtier. She weathered storms that would have broken anyone else. And now, instead of basking in it, she feels constantly compared to Kate, and she knows who the people prefer. For the public, the optics of the Trump visit may have been a minor hiccup, a momentary awkwardness. But within the palace, where rivalries are whispered in corridors and every expression is dissected, it has opened a new chapter in the ongoing saga of Camilla versus Kate. It is a clash not just of personalities but of legacies, with William caught squarely in the middle, torn between maintaining harmony with his father's wife and defending the dignity of his own. And in the world of royalty, where perception is everything, even the smallest gesture can echo louder than words. The story of Camilla Rosemary Shand, later Camilla Parker Bowles, now Queen Camilla, is not just the tale of a royal consort. It is a saga of survival, reinvention, and the relentless pursuit of legitimacy in the face of some of the harshest public hostility ever directed at a member of the British royal family. To understand why Camilla bristled at Kate's presence during the Trump visit, one must first understand the decades of personal and public battles that forged the woman who now wears the crown. Born in 1947 into a well-connected, upper-class family, Camilla grew up in the rarefied world of British country houses and aristocratic circles. Her upbringing was traditional yet privileged, steeped in the culture of hunting, polo, and social clubs. She was confident, lively, and by many accounts, unpretentious. What set her apart was her natural ease with people. She wasn't a great beauty in the conventional sense, but she had charisma, the ability to make people laugh, to put them at ease, and to command attention without even trying. It was this quality that first drew the young Prince Charles to her orbit. They reportedly met at a polo match in 1970, and from the outset, there was chemistry. Camilla's humor, her grounded nature, and her refusal to fawn over the heir to the throne intrigued Charles, who at that time was shy, awkward, and often uncomfortable with the expectations of his role. Camilla treated him like a man rather than a prince, and in doing so, she won his heart. But the timing was wrong. Charles was under immense pressure to find a bride deemed suitable by the monarchy. Camilla's reputation as a fun-loving socialite, not to mention her lack of aristocratic purity, made her an unsuitable choice in the eyes of palace courtiers. Their relationship faltered, and Camilla eventually married Andrew Parker Bowles, a dashing army officer with aristocratic connections of his own. Even after her marriage, Camilla remained in Charles's life. Their friendship deepened, and eventually, their bond rekindled into romance. By the time Charles married Lady Diana Spencer in 1981, Camilla's presence was already a quiet but undeniable undercurrent in his life. What followed is one of the most infamous sagas in royal history. Diana herself would later describe her marriage as being crowded, famously remarking, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." That third person, of course, was Camilla. For the public, Diana was the wronged young bride, the fairy-tale princess betrayed by her husband's enduring love for another woman. Camilla became the villain, the woman who stole the Prince of Wales's heart, the interloper who disrupted the dream. Tabloids dubbed her the Rottweiler, and she was mercilessly caricatured as conniving, manipulative, and cold. The hostility was staggering. Unlike Diana, who captivated the world with her beauty and compassion, Camilla was painted in the harshest light imaginable. For years, she couldn't appear in public without facing boos, insults, or worse. She was, in many ways, the most hated woman in Britain. For Camilla, the years that followed were ones of survival. She endured relentless press intrusion, her private phone calls with Charles leaked to the tabloids in the infamous Camilla Gate scandal of 1993. The recordings, intimate and embarrassing, humiliated not only her but the monarchy itself. Yet through it all, she never abandoned her relationship with Charles. Their bond was unbreakable, sustained through scandal, public outrage, and personal pain. Slowly, as time passed and Diana and Charles's marriage disintegrated, Camilla transitioned from secret companion to more acknowledged partner. The turning point came after Diana's tragic death in 1997. For years afterward, Camilla kept a low profile, understanding that the public grief for Diana left no room for her to step forward. It was a period of waiting, of careful rebranding. Charles was determined to bring her into the fold, but it had to be done gradually, with patience and strategy. The late 1990s and early 2000s marked the start of Camilla's rehabilitation. With the careful orchestration of palace advisors and Charles's unwavering commitment, she began to emerge into public life again. By the time Charles and Camilla married in 2005, the narrative had shifted, if only slightly. She was still controversial, but she was no longer the villain. The press softened, portraying her as Charles's steadying force, the woman who had stood by him through decades of turmoil. Slowly, the public began to see her less as a usurper and more as a loyal companion. Her work ethic helped. Camilla threw herself into royal duties, championing causes such as literacy, domestic violence awareness, and osteoporosis research. She showed up, smiled, and got on with the job. Over time, her unpretentious nature, the same quality that once endeared her to Charles, began to win over skeptics. Yet despite these efforts, Camilla's acceptance was never complete. For many, Diana's shadow remained too long, too deep. Even after becoming Duchess of Cornwall, she was often kept in the background. When Charles became king in 2022, it was a watershed moment, not only for him but for her. After decades of waiting, enduring, and reinventing, Camilla finally wore the crown. But here lies the paradox. Camilla is queen consort, a title many once thought impossible. She has the rank, the authority, and the status she and Charles fought for. Yet beneath the crown, the scars remain. She knows she was never truly embraced the way Diana was. She knows she will never inspire the same devotion Kate now commands. And she knows that, despite her title, her reign is temporary, a bridge between the reign of Charles and the inevitable ascension of William and Kate. This knowledge shapes her every move. It fuels her defensiveness, her territorial instinct. To Camilla, moments like the Trump visit are not trivial. They are battlegrounds for visibility, respect, and authority. In her mind, she waited decades for her turn in the spotlight. She is determined not to be overshadowed, least of all by a woman half her age who, in the eyes of the public, can do no wrong. This is why the gesture toward Kate mattered so much. It was not just about seating arrangements or conversational control. It was Camilla staking her claim, reminding the world, and Kate, that she is queen now, and she will not be pushed aside. When Catherine Elizabeth Middleton first entered the royal orbit, she was not born of aristocracy, nor was she connected by ancient family lineage. She was, to use the blunt term often thrown about by the press, a commoner. Yet her journey from a middle-class upbringing in Berkshire to the role of Princess of Wales, and future queen consort, has been nothing short of extraordinary. What makes her story even more remarkable is how seamlessly she has stepped into the role once occupied by Diana, Princess of Wales, earning both public devotion and global admiration. To understand why Kate's rise unsettles Camilla, one must first examine the qualities that define Kate herself. Her patience, her carefully cultivated image, her commitment to duty, and her uncanny ability to embody the very ideal of modern royalty. Kate was born in January 1982, the same year Charles and Diana welcomed their first son, Prince William. The contrast between their worlds could not have been starker. While Diana was giving birth in the grandeur of St. Mary's Hospital, with the eyes of the world upon her, Carol and Michael Middleton were raising their daughter in the relative obscurity of Reading. The Middletons were not aristocrats, but they were successful, ambitious, and upwardly mobile. Through their family business, party pieces, they secured a comfortable lifestyle, allowing Kate and her siblings to enjoy private education and opportunities that set them apart from average British families. Kate's upbringing was one of stability, warmth, and quiet privilege, a sharp contrast to the turbulent royal childhoods of William and Harry. It was at the University of St. Andrews that Kate's life changed forever. There, as a student of art history, she met Prince William. Their friendship blossomed into romance, though not without challenges. The scrutiny began early, with paparazzi hounding her even before their relationship was formally acknowledged. Through it all, Kate displayed remarkable composure, never allowing herself to be rattled in public. Unlike Diana, who was thrust into royal life as a teenager with little preparation, Kate had the luxury, or perhaps the burden, of a decade-long courtship with William. During those years, she earned the nickname, Waity Katie, from tabloids eager to criticize her for waiting so long without a proposal. But in hindsight, that period was crucial. It allowed Kate to learn, to grow, and to prepare for the extraordinary life that lay ahead. She studied the institution, observed its pitfalls, and adjusted her own behavior accordingly. By the time William finally proposed in 2010, Kate was not an innocent thrown into the lion's den, but a woman who had quietly rehearsed the role of royal consort for years. Her wedding to William in April 2011 was a global spectacle, watched by millions. In her elegant gown, walking down the aisle of Westminster Abbey, she cemented her place not just as William's wife but as a symbol of continuity, the monarchy's link between tradition and modernity. From the beginning, comparisons to Diana were inevitable. Both women were young, beautiful, and instantly captivating. But while Diana had often clashed with the constraints of royal life, Kate seemed to embrace them with calm acceptance. She brought to the role a kind of grounded grace, approachable yet regal, modern yet respectful of tradition. Her fashion choices made headlines, her public appearances drew adoring crowds, and her demeanor suggested both confidence and humility. In time, she became known as the New People's Princess, a moniker that echoed Diana's legacy but also underscored the difference. Where Diana's charm was fiery, emotional, and at times rebellious, Kate's appeal lay in her steadiness. She was relatable without being controversial, glamorous without being ostentatious, royal without being aloof. This was no accident. Kate's rise was carefully managed, her image tightly controlled. Every step, every appearance, every photograph was calibrated to project reliability and warmth. The result was a woman who, despite her ordinary beginnings, became one of the most admired royals in the world. Kate's popularity is not just about fashion or charm. It is about symbolism. For many Britons, she represents a monarchy that is accessible, relatable, and modern. She is a mother of three, balancing school runs with state banquets, and this duality resonates with the public. Her projects, from mental health awareness to early childhood development, are carefully chosen, substantive yet uncontroversial. They reflect not just her interests but also the broader needs of the monarchy, which relies on figures like Kate to remain relevant in the 21st century. This popularity, however, has consequences. Within the palace, it creates an inevitable comparison to other royals, most notably Camilla. Where Camilla is tolerated, Kate is adored. Where Camilla is respected, Kate is revered. For a woman like Camilla, who fought tooth and nail for acceptance, Kate's seemingly effortless ascent is both a marvel and a bitter pill. From the outside, Kate has always been respectful towards Camilla. She has never publicly clashed with her, never undermined her role, never shown anything but courtesy. But beneath the surface, the dynamic is more complicated. Camilla, as queen consort, technically outranks Kate. She is the senior royal woman, the partner of the reigning monarch. But in terms of public perception, Kate eclipses her completely. Crowds cheer louder for Kate. Tabloids gush more over Kate. Opinion polls consistently place Kate among the most beloved members of the royal family, while Camilla's ratings lag far behind. This imbalance gnaws at Camilla. She knows that her reign is temporary, that history will not dwell on her time as queen consort but will instead look ahead to William and Kate's reign. Every event, every photo op, every crowd interaction reinforces this reality. And so, when Camilla motioned Kate aside during the Trump visit, it was more than a social faux pas. It was the manifestation of years of pent-up frustration, a reminder that while Kate may have the people's love, Camilla holds the crown, at least for now. The real issue is not Kate herself but what she represents. She embodies everything Camilla has struggled to achieve: public adoration, effortless legitimacy, and the promise of a secure place in royal history. Camilla will always be the second wife, the woman who replaced Diana, the consort whose title was controversial even until the last moment. Kate, by contrast, is the future queen, the dutiful spouse, the mother of the next king. Her narrative is clean, unblemished, and inspiring. This contrast explains much of the tension. Camilla cannot escape her past, while Kate's future seems limitless. For Camilla, every smile Kate receives, every headline she dominates, is a reminder of her own limitations. And Kate, for her part, has little need to compete. Her popularity is organic, her role secure. But her very existence, her youth, her beauty, her widespread admiration, is enough to unsettle Camilla. Thus, the Trump visit incident was not born out of a simple clash of personalities. It was the culmination of decades of history, insecurities, and rivalries. For Kate, being told to move was insulting, yes, but it was also emblematic of the battle lines drawn within the palace. Camilla, the woman who waited decades for her crown, now finds herself overshadowed by the woman who will wear it next. Kate, the commoner, who became the people's princess 2.0, represents not just the future of the monarchy but also everything Camilla is not, and never will be. In this light, the tension between them is not merely personal. It is symbolic. It is the story of a monarchy in transition, of a crown passing from one generation to the next, of the insecurities that come when the present is haunted by the future. And if one thing is clear, it is this: the rivalry between Camilla and Kate is not about to fade. If anything, it is only just beginning. If there is one measure by which royal survival in the modern world can be gauged, it is popularity. The monarchy has no democratic mandate, its strength lies in the affection and respect it commands from the public. In this arena, the differences between Queen Camilla and Catherine, Princess of Wales, are stark, almost cruel in their clarity. Where Kate enjoys soaring approval ratings, Camilla continues to grapple with lingering distrust and half-hearted acceptance. This imbalance, subtle though it may appear during official events, reverberates across the monarchy like a quiet but persistent drumbeat. Surveys and opinion polls taken in recent years consistently show Kate as one of the most admired figures in the royal family. She often ranks alongside Prince William, and sometimes even above him, in terms of favorability. For many, Kate represents stability, tradition, and a reassuring sense that the monarchy has a bright future. Camilla, by contrast, has never been able to shake her complicated past. Though her approval ratings have improved since the dark days of the 1990s, when she was vilified as the other woman in Charles and Diana's marriage, she still trails far behind other senior royals. For every supporter who appreciates her quiet dedication, there are others who cannot look past her history with Charles and the shadow it cast over Diana. The polls reveal not just numbers but sentiments. When respondents are asked who they would like to see as king and queen in the future, overwhelming support goes to William and Kate. Even among monarchists, the prospect of Charles and Camilla reigning feels transitional, almost like a necessary but temporary chapter before the real story begins. The press plays a critical role in shaping royal reputations, and here again, Kate outshines Camilla. From the moment she joined the royal family, Kate's image has been carefully curated, fashionable yet modest, approachable yet dignified. Paparazzi photographs of her playing with her children or shopping in supermarkets feed into the idea that she is one of us, despite her royal position. Glossy spreads in lifestyle magazines celebrate her style, her charity work, and her poised demeanor. Camilla, on the other hand, faces a more complicated media landscape. While sympathetic outlets highlight her sense of humor, her loyalty to Charles, and her growing role in charitable causes, the coverage is rarely glowing. There is always a hint of restraint, an acknowledgement that she is tolerated rather than adored. During public events, the body language of crowds tells its own story. When Kate appears, people surge forward, eager for a glimpse, a smile, or a handshake. With Camilla, the reaction is polite but muted. It is not hostility, not anymore, but neither is it the unbridled enthusiasm that Kate inspires. It is impossible to discuss the popularity divide without acknowledging Diana's enduring influence. For millions around the world, Diana remains the ultimate royal icon, glamorous, compassionate, tragic. Her memory continues to loom over the monarchy, shaping how both Camilla and Kate are perceived. For Camilla, Diana's legacy is a shadow she can never escape. No matter how many years have passed, there are those who view her as the woman who contributed to Diana's unhappiness. This perception lingers, subtly undermining Camilla's legitimacy as queen. Kate, by contrast, benefits from Diana's memory. She is often portrayed as Diana's natural successor, the modern, people's princess, who continues the late royal's legacy of compassion and relatability. Photographs of Kate hugging children, comforting grieving families, or crouching down to speak with young admirers evoke powerful memories of Diana. The media, consciously or not, reinforces this connection, ensuring that Kate is not just Kate, but Kate is Diana's heir. There is also the matter of image. Kate, in her early 40s, is seen as youthful, stylish, and aspirational. She embodies the modern ideal of a working mother, balancing duty with family life. Her fashion choices make headlines, her hairstyles are copied, and her overall aesthetic appeals to both younger and older generations. Camilla, at 78, presents a different image. She is often described as practical, no-nonsense, and traditional. While she has her own style and confidence, she does not capture the same kind of aspirational fascination. Her age and demeanor make her seem more like a figure of continuity than of transformation. This difference matters because the monarchy itself relies on the perception of renewal. People look to Kate and William as the embodiment of a modern monarchy, while Camilla and Charles are seen as the custodians of a fading era. Royal watchers often speak of the event effect, the way individual moments can shape long-term perceptions. In this regard, Kate has mastered the art of the memorable appearance. From her effortless charm at international tours to her empathetic gestures during crises, she repeatedly generates images that capture the public imagination. Camilla's appearances, by contrast, are rarely headline-grabbing. She fulfills her duties competently, but without the same magnetism. When her name does make headlines, it is often in the context of comparison, with Diana, with Kate, or with Charles himself. The Trump visit incident illustrates this perfectly. For Kate, the image of being subtly brushed aside by Camilla only reinforced her role as the sympathetic figure, dignified, gracious, unfairly treated. For Camilla, the same moment played into narratives of jealousy, insecurity, and brittleness. Within the palace, popularity is not just a vanity metric. It translates into influence, visibility, and long-term legacy. The monarch and consort may hold the titles, but the people's choice wields a quieter kind of power, the ability to shape the monarchy's relevance. Kate's popularity ensures that her initiatives receive coverage, her appearances draw crowds, and her narrative dominates public discourse. Camilla's lower standing means that her work, though valuable, often fades into the background. This imbalance is deeply felt behind palace walls. For Camilla, it is a source of frustration. For William and Kate, it is both a blessing and a burden, a reminder that they are already carrying the monarchy's future on their shoulders. The popularity divide between Kate and Camilla is not likely to narrow with time. If anything, it may widen. As William and Kate step into increasingly prominent roles, their visibility will grow. Their children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, add to their appeal, presenting an image of a young, dynamic royal family. Camilla, meanwhile, will remain tied to Charles, whose reign is already seen as transitional. The more time passes, the clearer it becomes that the monarchy's future belongs not to the current king and queen, but to the next generation. This reality shapes every interaction, every headline, every poll. It explains why a moment as small as Camilla telling Kate to move can generate so much attention, because it is not just about two women. It is about the past and the future, about acceptance and adoration, about legitimacy and love. The popularity divide between Kate and Camilla is not a superficial matter of headlines or fashion. It is a fundamental fault line within the monarchy itself. One woman embodies a hard-fought legitimacy, earned through decades of endurance but shadowed by history. The other represents a fresh start, adored by the public and free of scandal. Together, they symbolize the monarchy's struggle to bridge its past with its future. Camilla's reign, however dutiful, will always feel temporary. Kate's role, however patient, feels inevitable. And so, the rivalry between them, quiet, subtle, unspoken, is more than personal. It is existential. For as long as both women walk the same stage, one will shine while the other remains in the shade. For Prince William, the clash between Queen Camilla and Princess Kate is not merely a matter of family tension. It cuts to the heart of his existence, straddling three roles that often collide: the devoted husband, the dutiful son, and the heir destined to become king. Few people in the modern era have lived their entire lives under the shadow of destiny the way William has. From the moment of his birth in 1982, he was not just Diana and Charles's son, he was the future king. His every word, every gesture, every misstep was scrutinized, dissected, and measured against the heavy expectations of the crown he would one day wear. And yet, behind the grandeur and the pomp, William is also a man of private loyalties, shaped profoundly by his mother's influence, scarred by his parents' marriage, and strengthened by his partnership with Kate. The Trump incident, where Camilla appeared to shoo Kate aside, reignited an old, familiar tension for William: how to protect his wife while maintaining his uneasy but necessary bond with his stepmother. To understand William's position, one must first return to Diana. She was not just his mother, she was his compass, his protector, and his moral guide in the turbulent years of his childhood. He watched her struggle under the constraints of royal life, saw her suffering in her